Alright, today we're going to be working on 8.3, multiplying polynomials. We're flying through chapter 8, just another step, working on polynomials. We already classified polynomials, added and subtracted polynomials. Now we are going to be multiplying polynomials. Alright, so something that we've seen before is for, open parentheses, x plus 5, close parentheses. We've already seen that. Now we know that this 4 is multiplying the parentheses x plus 5. Okay, so we know that to the act of multiplication to get rid of these parentheses is called distributing, right? We know to distribute. So if we had 4 times x, that's going to give us 4x. Okay, 4 times a positive 5 is a positive 20. So if I expanded that expression out, okay, I'm going to get 4x plus 20. We know that. So that is distributing. Now, that is just an actual monomial times a binomial, right? That's actually what this is. Now, we could do it this way, but when we get x's here and an x squared there and a 5x there, it gets a little bit difficult. So I'm going to teach you something called the box method. Okay? Now, I'm going to teach you the box method, then I'm going to go back to a method you might already have learned. And then it's going to be up to you to choose which method you'd like to use. Okay? So, first of all, let's break this down. Now, you see a box here. It's just a side-by-side box, and I'll kind of explain how you're going to get the box and the dimensions of the box that you're going to want to draw. But I have a couple of steps here, and as long as you follow those steps, we'll be good. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is to draw your box, okay, or boxes. Okay, so since this is a monomial, right, it's a 1 times a binomial, I'm going to have a monomial times a binomial. Okay, so you can see that I have one term times 2 different terms. Do you see that? Okay, so now I'm going to take this first monomial, which is 4, okay, and I'm just going to put it long ways down here. So I'm just going to write a 4 right there. Okay, then I'm going to take this first term and I'm going to put it, all I'm going to do is basically write it on top of these boxes. I'm going to put an x here, and I'm going to put a plus 5 right there. Okay, so all I did was broke this, the parentheses up, and instead of multiplication, instead of distributing, I just wrote it on the sides of boxes. Now, if you remember, probably back in 8th grade, you found the area of a square, right? Or any type of rectangle or area of any boxed figure. It's always going to be length times width. So if I had length, okay, if I had length times width, I'm going to have 4 times x. Now remember, if I have 4 times an x, it's just going to be what? 4x, right? I know that. Now I'm going to find the length of, the area of the second box. Okay, the second box is going to be, the length is still 4. Okay, the width is still 4, and the length is 5. So I'm going to have 4 times 5, positive 5, which is positive 20. Okay, so so my second step, okay, was to, which I did, was find the area of first box, okay, which is the 4x. Second one is, third step is to find the area of second box. Now, if this was, which I'll get into the next example, if there's another term, you could just find the area of the third box and so on and so forth. So you're just finding the area of the next box, okay? And then the final step is to write your expression. Okay? So now your expression, what's is inside the box, and right now I can't combine those like terms, so my answer is simply 4x plus 20. Now some of you guys are going to say, Mr. Green, why can't I just distribute? You can. Okay, you can distribute, but when we get into the more difficult multiplication of polynomials, I believe that the box method will help you organize and help you guys moving forward. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple of examples, and then you guys could try a couple on your own. Okay, now remember, what was my first step? So I'm looking at number 1 right here. Let's look at number 1. Okay, so my first step was to, let's look back. The first step was to draw my box. Now, what am I looking at? I'm looking at a one term, right? By how many terms? 1, 2. So I need a 1, right? So I need a 1 by 2 box. So it's going to look something right there, right? I have a 1 by a 2 box. So now all I want to do is write my terms down below. So the second step is, to finish filling out my box, I need to write my x as my width of my first box. Okay, then I want the length, okay, to be the first term of my parentheses, which is x. Then my second term of my parentheses, which is plus 5. Okay. Now that we set up the box, remember all we're going to do is find the area. Okay, so it's going to be length times width. Now remember, okay, when you multiply x times x, it's not going to be 2x. Okay, that's a no-no. Okay, when you multiply variables, okay, you add their exponent. So x times x is actually x squared. 1 plus 1 is 2. Good. Now the next box, okay, the next box is going to be here. I'm going to do length times width, which is x times 5, which you're just going to put it together to be positive 5x. Okay, awesome. So now, really, that was my second step. My second step was to find the area of the first box. Okay, third step was to find the area of the second box. Okay, now my fourth step is to just write your expression. Okay, write your expression. So your expression is what is inside your boxes. Now ask yourself, can you combine these two boxes? X squared plus 5x? No, you can't. So you're just going to write them down as x squared plus 5x. And that is going to be your answer, your expression. Good. Let's move on to a little bit more difficult one. So let's look at number 3. Now this one's a little bit different. Now what do you notice about this one? Now, if you're looking at this first part, you still have a monomial, but it's multiplied by a what? A trinomial. You have 1, 2, and 3. So now you need a 1 by a how many box? You need 1, 2, 3. So I need 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you need a 1 by 3 box. Sorry, my lines aren't straight. So it's going to look something like that. Good. So now I'm going to still put this first monomial on the side of my box, which is going to be 8n. Good. Now I'm going to take my first term that's in my parentheses. I'm just going to write it right there. Now remember, always carry the sign. Forgot to add this before. Always carry the sign that's in front of your term. So this is going to be positive 2n. This one's going to be a negative 2. Okay, good. Now, same thing. Second step. I'm going to find the area of my first box. Now, when I multiply monomial times a monomial, okay, remember, I'm going to multiply, okay, the coefficients first. So 8 times what's in front of here, it's a 1. So 8 times 1 is 8. Okay. Now I have n times n squared. Now remember, what do you want to do with the exponents? You want to add the exponents when multiplying. So it's going to be n times n squared is 1 plus 2 is 3, so it's going to be n cubed. Okay, good. Now, still, the width of this second box, step 3, find the area of the second box, okay, it's still 8n, so it's 8n times 2n. Now remember, multiply the coefficients first. So 8 times a positive 2 is a positive 16. Good. So now I have n to the first times n. Now remember, okay, 1 plus 1 is 2, n squared. Okay. Lastly, I am going to multiply. Now this one's a little bit different. Now step 4 would just be write the expression, but now I have an extra box. So as you have more boxes, just keep filling out the next box. Find the area of the next box. So now my step 4 here would be find the area of the third box. Now I have 8n times negative 2. Multiply the coefficients first. 8 times negative 2 is actually negative 16. Okay? Now I have n times no n is just n. Okay? So now here it would be my fifth step would just be rewrite the expression inside your box. This which would be, let me erase that. Okay, which would be 8n cubed plus 16n squared minus 16n. Okay, good. All right, so now you have number 2 and you have number 4 as money problems. This is going to conclude the first half of section 8.3. Once you are done with these 2 money problems, ask me to check them, then you will move on to the next portion of the video. Good luck.